What's good, everybody? It's your boy Todd Smith here once again, alongside my tag team partner Dale Clifford out there in Findlay, Nevada. Welcome to yet another episode of the No Gimmicks podcast. Dale, what is good, my man?
What up, Todd? Good to see you back. Definitely looking forward to moving forward here as we bring in guest number 2 from Lucha Underground. So excited for this one. It's the referee in charge, Marty Elias, and as we're getting prepared for the return of Lucha Underground Season 3. So a fantastic way to kind of do that is get the man that kind of calls the shots.
Marty,
hey guys,
what's up, brother? How you living?
Hey, I'm living great, man. Hey, Dale, by the way, love your shirt, man. you know, thanks for the love.
Yeah,
that's awesome. No, I'm doing great, man. It's Sunday and Memorial Weekend, and just kind of chilling out.
All right, Marty. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into this here. So you've been controlling action inside the squared circle for nearly 2 decades, man. To my understanding, your journey began, in Ultimate Pro Wrestling, and that was a developmental territory for the WWE at the time. So please explain to us and our viewers what motivated you to get into the pro wrestling business and what made you choose the path of becoming a ref rather than becoming a professional wrestler.
I wanted to be in KISS. I'm a big KISS fanatic. I think a lot of people know that, and if you see the shirt. So
okay,
yeah, huge KISS fan. And I always wanted to be in KISS, and KISS brought something that to this day I still love. It brings the entertainment and brings a show and all that good stuff. And I was always intrigued by that, and think that bands today who aren't doing anything like that are missing the boat. But anyway, I always wanted to be in KISS, couldn't do it. So I said, what's the next best thing? And it was pro wrestling. So I actually started with a school out in San Bernardino before Ultimate Pro Wrestling. And I was learning how to wrestle. And I went for it was Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday is what I did. And I started, and I was learning how to take bumps, and that's pretty much all I did. And then one time I heard the guys complaining about referees, and a light went off. I went home and I looked in the mirror and I said, I'm not 6'8", I'm not 320 pounds, nor am I good looking. So I said, what can I do? It was refereeing. So I said, okay. So I started asking guys to stay with me after class, and I said, can you guys work with me so I can referee a match? And, I started studying tapes of Tommy Young, early Tim White. I just started going from there.
Right on, man. Give yourself some credit, Marty. Hey, women did the dudes with the bald heads,
Well, that's funny. I say that because, I've been married. It's going to be 31 years, June 7th. So we've been together for 33. So yeah. So, all that aspect of it and everything, I just like, I'm an overachiever. My wife is smoking hot, and I just, do that.
Hey, you know what? Hey, that's good stuff, brother. I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Dale here. He's got the next question for you, Marty.
Sure, man.
So as Todd kind of touched on before we started, mentioning that both me and Todd had kind of been in the wrestling business a little bit, and I kind of first started out learning how to referee because the company we were with needed one. So I just figured that was the quickest way I was going to get on shows, was to kind of take that up. So and it brings a lot of different challenges than that of wrestling. So what would be one of the biggest, riskiest spots you did as a referee?
One of the riskiest spots is probably, taking bumps with particular guys, especially guys that I'm not comfortable with, or guys that I'm not really, aware of or really understand their work. For me, as far as being a seasoned referee, there's always a good chemistry and there's always a good flow with certain guys that you work with and you're comfortable with. I mean, whether it be the Rey Mysterios, the Johnny Mundos, the Jerichos, or whatever. But there's been times, where I've actually said no to taking bumps with newer guys, that I don't know, and I don't know their work, and I've never been in the ring with them. So there's been times where I've said, I'm not comfortable. But for the most part, as far as getting injured and things like that, one of the biggest injuries I've had was probably Ultimate Lucha Uno. It was El Patron and Johnny Mundo. I got a concussion and don't even remember the post match and driving home, because the spot where Johnny pulled me in, I got kicked by Patron, and I seen stars. I finished the match. I drove home, did everything, went back the next day, and then when I seen the match and I seen the final product and stuff and everything, I go, I don't remember that match. And it was one of those things where I just, it was pretty bad. It was a concussion. I didn't go to the hospital or anything like that, but it's just things like that, you just kind of just shake them off and go, oh, I'm okay. But then, when you don't remember, and I was asking my wife, I go, what did I do last weekend? Well, you did Ultima Lucha 1. I go, I did? So it was one of those things, but, that happened, like I said, about, maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago when we did the first Ultima Lucha. And of course, throughout the years, I've had other injuries and things of that nature, but that one, was something I just like, wow, that's kind of freaky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dale has a similar experience, which you could possibly share from early on in our training. If you'd like to share that, Dale, that was kind of similar to what happened to Marty there.
Yeah, we were doing a rope drill. So me and another guy are just doing the crisscrossing of the ring ropes, and it was a rare ring malfunction where the top and middle rope gave out. I tripped over the bottom rope, and next thing I remember was waking up being told that I was snoring. So, and had to be checked for a concussion. I don't even remember really. I kind of remember tripping on the rope, but that's about it. I don't remember. What happened after that. So
I had to kind of help him fill in the gaps, Marty. we were riding together. He's like, asking me all these questions stuff. He's just like, when did this happen? How did it happen? All that. I'm like telling him all this stuff, and he's just sitting up there looking like with this look of amazement on his face there. So we're gonna go ahead and transition here to the next question. Once you made the move to the WWE, you had the opportunity to be involved in one of the most memorable matches of all time of WrestleMania, involving HBK and The Undertaker. That being the match at WrestleMania 25. So what exactly led to you receiving this distinct honor to referee that match?
Well, Sean and I were friends, and that's it. When I got into WWE, that was one of the things, that I had said. And actually, when I was refereeing, my goal was to get to WWE to work WrestleMania, because we all know that's the granddaddy of them all. That's what everybody shoots for. And I tell kids who are training today and everything, I mean, if that's not your goal to go to WrestleMania, then get out of the business. Because I know a lot of people like Japan, they like this and whatever. But, if you're not shooting for WrestleMania, then why are you doing this? But, the whole time, that I was working, training as a referee and everything, I've always admired Shawn Michaels from afar. And I was always into his work and what he did and everything. And I always wanted to perceive myself as a Shawn Michaels of referees. It's not an ego thing or not like that. It's just that when I get in there, even to this day, it's like, I'm going to give you the best. And I dare anybody to go in after me and try and top what I do as a referee, because, I'm there for everything. And, it's my confidence in how hard I work to get to that level. But to answer your question is, when I got there to WWE, I befriended Sean and Sean befriended me, and, we got along. It was one of those things where I wasn't nervous to go up and talk to him and ask him. And that was one of the things, that I really prided myself on, is that I went and I asked the guys who were there, the agents and producers, how could I get even better than what I was? Because, of course, you got to be pretty good to get to WWE, but once you're there, that's the tricky part, is staying there and staying on top. And all I wanted to do was get better. So I was fortunate, that Sean, Ricky Steamboat, Arn Anderson, Dean Malenko, all these guys were willing to sit back and talk with me and show me and train me and just give me pointers on how to get better. So with that being said, Sean and I were friends, and we would ride together. We would fly together. We would eat together. And, it got to the point, where one time just casually on a plane, I said, Sean, I go, I'd really like to work WrestleMania with you. I said, that's one of my goals, and that's why I'm here. And, it was a casual conversation like that. And Sean just turned to me and he goes, well, let's see if we can work on that. And we just left it at that. It wasn't anything like, Sean, please, come on, man. It wasn't anything like that. It was a casual conversation between two friends. And this was probably about a year before, the match actually took place. So, he and I had this conversation way before. So it was something that was said, and then it didn't get discussed again until we were actually a few weeks out from WrestleMania 25. And Charles Robinson actually had the assignment at first. And because WWE referees normally get your assignments about 2 to 3 weeks out, so you know what you have. And I don't know if they still do that, but at that time they did. So again, nonchalantly driving with Sean after a show, I said, hey, by the way, I said, Sean, I said, at Mania, I said, I don't have your match, unfortunately. So, and it was just one of those things. It wasn't like, oh my God, Sean, I don't have your match. It was nothing like that. It was just, hey, Sean, I don't have your match. And he goes, you don't? Why not? And I said, I have no idea. I'm happy to be here, bro. So the next day, we're in Corpus Christi, Texas, and we're in the locker room, and Sean comes up and he says, sit down. And I go, okay. He goes, I talked to John Laurinaitis. He goes, you got my match. And I went, okay. So what was I going to do? Tell Shawn Michaels no? So, all right. So I got it. And, and to this day, I still apologize up and down to Charles Robinson and, tell him I'm sorry. And it was never meant to be vicious to take the match in this net. It was nothing like that. But of course, he did get the next one of the retirement. So, and plus the year before he had Flair and Sean with the retirement too, so, I got my one.
Okay. So in other words, hey, the Horsemen had Lil Nate, Charles Robinson. The NWO had Nick Patrick, and the Clique had you, brother.
Amen, if you want to call it that.
Right on, man. So thanks for sharing that for us. So Dale, what you got for Marty Nets here?
So at New Year's Revolution 2007, you were faced with the obstacle of having to communicate to 3 competitors quickly and efficiently that Triple H had injured his quad and was not going to be able to continue. How were you able to pull off this maneuvering without and making it seem just like effortless and just kind of keeping everything together?
Well, first off, when you're in the ring with guys of that caliber, they're going to lift your game up to a different level. And that's what I tell guys too. If you can work with guys who are on TV or have been on TV or guys who are excelling, you always want to work with somebody who's better than you, because those guys actually elevate your game, whether you want to be elevated or not. And I truly believe that, because they make you step up what you got to do. So, that whole NWA where the big boys play, I was playing with the big boys at that point. So to be in there with Randy Orton, Edge, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H, I mean, these are some pretty high-profile guys in the business. So for me, it was a matter of just being in there, being there for them, and being the best referee I could. But that being said, it's always being on top of my game and knowing if things go south, that I need to be prepared for that. And I tell referees all the time. As a matter of fact, I got a seminar June 11th with Texas Wrestling Academy, and I'll be sharing stuff like that. You always got to be on your toes. You always got to be ready for everything and anything that gets thrown at you. So with that being said, it was one of those things where I just had to be there. I had to be calm, cool, collected, and go and communicate without giving any type of giveaway that Hunter was truly, in fact, hurt. So, the first guy that I communicated with was Randy, because as soon as he gave him that move, he popped right up and he says, "Oh my God, my quad." And Randy was lying there, so right away I told Randy, I said, Hunter's hurt. And he goes, "How bad?" I don't know. So then I went back to Hunter and I said, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And of course, he was using colorful language and stuff because he was in a lot of intensive pain.
I bet.
But he goes, I'm screwed. And I said, well, what do you want to do? He goes, tell Sean, tell the rest of them. And I said, okay. So Randy was the first one that I told. And then I went and told Edge, and Sean just happened to be on the outside waiting for the tag. So after I told Edge, I went over to Sean and I said, Sean, I go, he's hurt. He goes, what's wrong? I said, I don't know, but he's hurt. So then, Randy got up and Randy started moving around, doing what he was doing. And I communicated to all of them. So then when I went back to Sean goes, it's going to be a schmoz. Let them know. So, okay. So I went back, and that's all I told Edge and Randy. I said, Sean said we're schmozzing this. Okay, cool. What's he going to do? I have no idea. So Sean just came barreling in, started bopping people and stuff, and he bopped me, and, you know, the match was a schmoz. It was thrown out and stuff, and, you know, originally, you know, we did have a finish and everything, but, you know, it was a schmoz, and, you know, it was a no contest, and, you know, that's why the match ended, and, you know, we were able to, you know, to save Hunter. But even though Hunter did finish the match and do some other stuff, you know, we got by with doing it, and nobody really knew until, you know, we were in the back that, yeah, you know, he was legitimately not in a good place.
Yeah. Yeah. And he missed quite a bit of time after that one. That was the injury. Was that the one that kept him out of Mania?
Yes. That's the one. That's the one where Sean went in and wrestled Cena at WrestleMania 23.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought here. So, wow. Yeah. That's something else right there, man. So once you moved on from the WWE, one of the companies that you had the opportunity to work for was the EWF, Jesse Hernandez's EWF. And yes, if I read correctly, you actually participated in a come-as-you-are street fight versus a dude named Brandon Gatson, and you actually wound up winning the World Heavyweight Championship. How did that all go down, Marty?
I wasn't doing anything wrestling-wise at the time. And mind you, I came in with Jesse. He trained me, you know, back then prior to UPW, and I wasn't really into wrestling. You know, I was done with wrestling, didn't want to do it. I was doing more rock and roll merchandising and going on rock tours and doing that stuff, you know, because I was just, at that point, I was over wrestling. And Jesse said, hey, brother, why don't you come in and help me? And, you know, you can just do a little bit just to get your fix. And, you know, it's like, you know, because wrestling's always going to be with me regardless of, you know, what I say or do. It's always going to be a part of me. So I said, all right, cool. So then, you know, we started talking about, you know, he's like, well, do you want to ref? I go, no, I don't want to ref. I've done that. And he's like, well, what do you want to do? I said, you know, I'll manage somebody. So, you know, it just, you know, naturally progressed organically. And, you know, I just started feeling a lot more comfortable talking and doing this and doing that. And Brandon, you know, he's always been a nice kid. I remember when he first started. So why don't we start something going with us? I went, all right, cool. So we just kind of had a little angle going, and, you know, I was being a heel, and, you know, I was helping out there. And then, you know, they said, hey, the anniversary show, we want to do, you know, a big switch. I'm going to, you know, give it to you and do this. And I went, okay, you know, cool, man. So did that. And I held the title for about 30 seconds. And then I gave it to somebody else, and, you know, they got pinned, and the rest is history. But, you know, yeah, it was fun. And of course, you know, when I did win, of course, you know, I had to do the famous Shawn Michaels, you know, pose and all that good stuff. So it was fun.
Showing off the gun show.
The BB gun show.
The BB gun show. Did you do this rocking the hips and all that too, Marty? Did you go all out with it?
Of course, man. Like I even went to the, you know, I was tuning up the band in one of those spots, man. It was awesome.
Hey, how'd you go over in that match?
I went over by dropping, or what I thought at the time was dropping an elbow on a trash can. Gatson was in a trash can, and I went up to drop what I thought was an elbow. But looking back at the tape, you know, like I was so blown up, it looked like I just frog splashed him. And then, you know, I crushed the trash can, I hooked his leg, and 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so now you had already said that you held on to the title for about 30 seconds, so I kind of know what happened next. The title wound up getting defended in a battle royal of some sort later on that evening, right? Is that how it all went down?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, wow, that's quite a series of events there, Marty.
Yeah, it was fun.
From ref to, you know, to hardcore world champion, basically.
Yeah.
Right on. So Dale has got another question for you, man.
Okay.
Well, nowadays you are back on television in the stripes as the senior official for Lucha Underground. How did that relationship all come to be?
I've been great friends, and still am to this day, with Chris DeJoseph and DJ. And we had known each other in WWE, and we had hung out and, you know, been friends there. And he was actually doing a show on AMC called Fourth and Loud, which was a reality-based show about Kiss's football team, arena football team, LA Kiss. And DJ, knowing that I'm a huge Kiss guy, you know, would hit me up and go, hey, man, I'm producing this. Hey, I'm doing this. And, hey, man, Gene and Paul. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, so me, I'm like fanboying out. And I was going to one of their concerts, and they were doing some filming there. So I told DJ about it, and DJ's like, well, if you're there, you know, you can meet this guy and meet that guy. And I went, all right, cool, no worries. I said, I'm just going. But then at that time, he told me he was quitting the show because he was going to interview for a project that was top secret. He couldn't tell me what it is, but it was wrestling related. And he couldn't tell me who was involved with it, nothing. So I said, all right, cool, man, you know, knock yourself out. And I left it at that. Went to the Kiss show, had fun. And then about a week or two after that, I was going out on tour with Rob Zombie and Five Finger Death Punch on the Mayhem Festival.
Nice.
So I went and did that. And during that tour, DJ called me up and says, hey, man, I got the gig. He's like, you know, would you like to come in and help out? I really want you to be a part of it because we're going to be based out of LA, and I know you're here. And I went, I'm not really into wrestling, dude. I said, I'm not doing my thing now. He goes, come on, man, it'll be cool. And I was like, okay. I said, I'll check it out. So I left it at that. And then a couple of days later, he called me up. He goes, you're like, when do you get home from tour again? And I said, about 3 weeks. All right, cool. He's like, well, make sure you call me. All right, cool. So 2 days before I was coming home, he called me in New Orleans. I was in New Orleans, and he called me, and he says, hey, man, you know, do you want to do this? He goes, I really want you to come in. When do you get home? And I said, in 3 days. All right, when you get home, you know, can you come to LA to meet with the line producers and stuff, or call them? And I went, okay. So I got home, and I called one of the line producers and told me what it was. But mind you, let me backtrack a little bit. DJ couldn't tell me what it was. He just said that certain people were involved with it. It was a wrestling project. It was Lucha Libre, and he couldn't tell me anything other than that. But he said, please, it's going to be awesome. Just tell me yes. So when I got home and I talked to the line producers and stuff, they kind of gave me more of what was going on. And then when I verbally agreed to a deal, they said, okay, you know, that's great. We'll be in touch with you. So then I called DJ, and then DJ gave me the 411 that it was Mark Burnett, it was Robert Rodriguez, it was the El Rey Network, it was AAA. So I went, I'm kind of glad I took a leap of faith, man, you know, so. Yeah. And then, you know, when DJ started telling me some of the ideas and what was going down and what they had in mind, and of course, you know, with Lucha Underground, you know, I'm not only the senior official, the senior official, we like to say in Spanish. I actually do a lot of the safety stuff, or actually I do a lot of the safety stuff, you know, as far as the tables and chairs, the props, guitars, ladders. I'm also in charge of the ring, making sure the ring gets set up correctly and making sure if there's anything wrong with it, you know, that we get it fixed correctly. And, you know, so that was part of my deal too. And I went in there, and, you know, the first day that we were, you know, going over stuff, I mean, I was like, wow, this is going to be something pretty cool. And here we are talking about it, and we're getting ready for the second half of season 3. And, you know, it's been a ride, man.
Right on, man. Hey, so we're going to get to that here in a second. Let me say this real quick. Dale is a believer, okay? He's the one who got me into Lucha Underground, because he kept on going on and on about how great this show was, you know, and like all the crazy matches he was seeing, stuff like Grave Consequences, talking about how Angelico, you know, is damn near killing himself, jumping off of like 20-foot balconies on stuff. Yeah. And I'm just like, what the hell? I'm like, I got to tune in and see this thing, man. And I became hooked just as well. I mean, we watched that show religiously. It's probably became our favorite show. I'd say that and Ring of Honor. In all honesty, our 2 favorite shows weekly. Seriously, we love it, man. So as you were saying, you know, you guys are slated to return this upcoming Wednesday on the El Rey Network. Earlier this year, we actually had Marty the Moth Martinez on the No Gimmicks podcast. And at the time, he didn't quite have a whole lot of details that he could give us. Things were still kind of, you know, kept under wraps. So please share with us and our viewers what you can, basically, and what we have to look forward to with the second half of season 3.
Second half, it'll be May 31st, which is this coming Wednesday, the conclusion of season 3. I can tell you that the second half is going to be better than the first half. There's a whole bunch of spins and twists and turns that are coming that are going to introduce, some cool stuff, and you're going to see some cool stuff without giving away any spoilers and things of that nature, because, obviously I can't. It's going to be real exciting, and, people are really going to be grasping it even more and really pushing for season 4. And on that note, there's stuff being said that, hopefully through prayers and everything else, that maybe season 4 could possibly start in the fall. But,
brother, I'm on my knees right now. I'm praying. Because that was going to be the next question.
Believe, then send the prayers, brother.
Yes. Hallelujah. Because that's what we wanted to know. Yeah, if there was going to be a season 4, and basically when that was going to be coming our way. So yeah, so we're very glad that you were able to confirm that for us, Marty. So Dale, what you got next here for Marty?
So what has been your most memorable match since working inside the temple?
There's actually 2 of them. The first one was Pentagon in the gauntlet match with the Ninjas, with the Stardom girls from Japan. For me, that was so much fun, and helping to be involved with that match and to work with those girls finally. I mean, for me, it was so cool, man. I mean, that match was something for me. I mean, it was personal because, when I see somebody as talented as those girls are, I was like, man, I want to work with those girls. And then, of course, Pentagon being who he is and coming into his own, and to have those 2 different styles, and Japan and Mexico come in, and just the chemistry and the electricity of being in there. I mean, it was off the hook, man. I mean, it was so much fun. And I'd have to say, the second and third stuff is anything with Johnny Mundo and Rey Mysterio. Love those guys.
Just to kind of follow up, this is a question we hadn't had, prepared for prior to the show here, but I kind of want to ask you just real quick. What's your take on the fact that Lucha Underground offers the intergender matches? Because that's something that you don't really see in any other company anymore. You don't see that in WWE. You don't see it in Impact. You rarely ever see it over in ROH. So, I mean, what's your whole take on that, Marty?
My whole take is that if you're in the business, and my hold on, let me take a time out. What I'll say is this: I know that people are huge Ronda fans, right? Ronda Rousey.
Yes.
So people love seeing her. She's tough. She's bad. She can fight. She's awesome. So my take on that is that if people are seeing that and want her to be successful, and she's getting tons of money to do what she does, she beats people up. Mm-hmm. Whether they're females, of course. But I know that there's guys who said they can take her. She wants to fight that and everything. My thing is that she's a powerful influence for women. Hands down. Hands down. So she's getting paid top dollar to be an inspiration to women to fight back for what they believe in. And what she does is she's entertaining people. So with that being said, why not have intergender matches, man versus woman? I mean, I know there's a lot of people who don't agree with them, but it's the way you put them together, and it's the story. And a lot of times with us, what we've done is we've told the story, like, for example, with Sexy Star, we've told the story of how she had some stuff growing up, and, how she was down and out and this and that and everything, but she's a strong woman. And that's the thing that with these intergender matches is that we're portraying women as strong individuals who have this power, who have this charisma, who can go in and, it doesn't matter if they're male or female, that they can go in and they can go toe to toe. I mean, it's no different than a woman CEO competing with a male CEO. It's the same thing, but with pro wrestling and with Ronda Rousey, UFC and all that, it's women versus women. And with us, it's Sexy Star, Elise, and these guys against some of the luchadors. So for me personally, and this is just my humble opinion, it all depends on how you present it.
Okay.
If folks don't feel comfortable presenting it a certain way, then that's on them. But Lucha Underground, we're confident enough in what we do, and Krista Joseph and Chris Roach are amazing in what they do as far as writing, storytelling-wise. So there's a right way that we're bringing it. And with producers like Chavo Guerrero, and of course we got our showrunner Eric Van Wagen and such, it's a combination of everybody having an input and saying, let's do it the right way, because most people just like to throw things together just to throw them together. But if you've noticed, the way that we've done our intergender stuff is we've done it right. We've told stories. We're not just throwing stuff together and seeing if it's going to stick to the wall. We're telling stories. And I think that's one of the things that's missing in pro wrestling today, whether it be Impact, WWE, whatever, is the storytelling. And that's what Lucha Underground is doing. We're telling stories, compelling stories that make sense and don't leave you hanging, where we're running like this, where some of the storylines from other stuff or whatever that I've seen, they do this and then they go, I've never seen.
Amen, brother. Hey, I can say this real quick here, and I'm going to toss it over to Dale. The most memorable match I have seen in Lucha Underground in the past 3 seasons was that match between Sexy Star and I want to say it was Marty Elias' sister. What's her name?
Mariposa No Mas.
It was Mariposa, and they just beat the absolute hell out of each other all over the arena and whatnot. That was crazy. I had never seen anything like that with 2 women, you know, like in a wrestling company here in the United States.
Yeah,
so,
and you know it's great. You know, when we were talking about that match and we were walking through it, that was one of the things, you know, that we had told both those girls is that you guys are going to set the bar for what's happening today, and we told them that. And when the match happened and stuff, I mean, I remember just going to the back because I was full of blood and everything else because Sexy Star, you know, had got color and all that. And I remember going up all the way up into the rafters, way up there, you know, where Angelico and these guys had been wanting to go, but they wouldn't let them. But when we went up there, I mean, it's funny because my wife's in the episode. She goes, "Did you really go up that high?" And I go, "Yeah, we went up that high." So she goes, "What are you, insane?" I go, "Anything for Lucha." When we came back, I remember it, and you know, both girls broke down and cried because they knew that they did something special. We all knew it was something special, and when it aired, I mean, it did really just raise the bar. And if you see, since then, other folks have kind of tried to imitate that or try and do it accordingly, but I don't think they're going to be able to touch us.
No, they won't. I needed a drink after watching that one, Marty. All right, so we got a couple of questions for some of our viewers from social media, so I'm going to go ahead and toss it over to Dale here.
All right, so the first one comes from Reddit user Lost in Your Ears, asking, do you have any favorite old school luchadors? And if so, who are they?
Any old school? Oh, man. Of course, Mil Mascaras is one of them. You know, and getting to meet him and in person and, you know, say hello. I mean, it's kind of cool. But, you know, I'm a fan of just anything wrestling, whether it be old school luchador, old school NWA or whatever. You know, I'm just old school. But as far as luchadors, you know, I'd have to say Mil and Blue Demon, because of the fact that those were the guys, and, you know, Santo and those guys, and going down to Mexico, being able to buy their masks and merchandise. It's always cool to do that. So, yeah.
Right on. So, hey, Dave Bradford, our buddy Dave Bradford from Facebook asked, do you remember hanging out with him and the other members of the Ring Crew at the temple? I guess apparently with you being a fan of Motley Crue, you were kind of attracted to their T-shirts and whatnot. He said that you also shared with them some of the cool tattoos that you had on your leg. So just kind of run through that experience with those guys real quick.
Yeah, I remember seeing their shirts, and of course their font it's the old school Motley Crue font, you know, with the Ring Crew. And of course I seen the Crew, and I went, oh, this is awesome, you know, you guys Motley Crue. So I showed them my tattoos and said, yeah, I said, I'm a big Crew fan because I have Motley Crue tattooed on my leg, but the Motley Crue that I have tattooed isn't like a particular Motley Crue. It's the Motley Crue that the members of Motley Crue got tattooed back in 1984 on their left bicep here. So what I actually did is I took Tommy Lee's tattoo and I got it, I mean, actual size and everything, and I had it drawn up and everything, and I had it tattooed on my leg. And on my leg right above it, I have Mick Mars and Nikki Sixx's autographs tattooed in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's dedication right there, brother.
Very
True,
baby.
Man. All right, so Dale, what you got next for Marty?
All right, I'm going to try to pronounce this singer's name. They come from Twitter, El Concinero Loco Jr. What's curious about your guitar picks, and what is the story about the band Kiss, which accompanies them?
My personal guitar picks are based on Kiss guitar picks. And the reason I have guitar picks, of course, I'm not a guitar player at all. Believe me, I have no music ability whatsoever. You know, I know chords. I can probably play a couple chords. I can hit the drums and all that, but I'm not a musician. The reason I wanted to get picks and do that because I'm a pick collector, and I've been collecting guitar picks, custom band guitar picks, since about 1980, 81. And at one point I had maybe 8,000, 9,000 guitar picks that I collected. Yeah. And for the most part, Kiss and a lot of the earlier bands, but I say Kiss, had the custom picks in the early 70s, mid 70s and everything. So, you know, to this day, Kiss still has their own guitar picks. And me wanting to be in Kiss and loving the band, I said, you know what, one day I'm going to have my own guitar picks. Even though I don't play and everything, I think it's such a cool thing because back then, you know, nobody really had guitar picks. And I said, I'm going to get my own guitar picks one day. When I was in WWE, I had them, but I had to keep them on the kayfabe because I didn't want to get in trouble because they had the WWE logo on them and stuff. And I gave them out to fans. Like anybody would ask me to sign a program or take a picture, I'd give them a guitar pick. And same thing with the Temple, but now with Lucha Underground, being that they see that referee lives matter, that you know, that they're you know, really pushing referees as talent, which is something, you know, that hasn't been done before in my career. So getting that exposure and being able to do interviews and signings, doing podcasts and things of that nature, you know, people know who I am. You know, I'm not just another pretty striped face in there. You know, people know who I am. So what I've done is I've actually had guitar picks made for Lucha Underground. And when I've gone to the World Cup and I did a signing at New York Comic Con and things of that nature, I have custom picks made just for those. And I hand them out. Once they're gone, they're gone. But I actually got some new picks being made for season 4, if and when it ever comes. So that's on hold right now. So if season 4 comes, then of course I'll have those picks made. But, you know, when somebody asks for a picture or whatever, you know, and they say, hey, do you got your picks? I'll give them a pick. But my picks are based off of Kiss picks, more so Paul Stanley. So there you go.
That is badass, man. And it's not a matter of if season 4 comes, it's when season 4 comes.
Yeah, see,
that clear, Marty.
See, right there, you know what I'm doing is I'm being non-committal right there. Did you see that?
All right, man. So, hey, we've come to this point in the show, Marty. We would like to give you the opportunity to promote whichever shows you have coming up, whichever projects you're involved in, any social media accounts you would like to share, where we can pick up some of those cool guitar picks. Marty, without further ado, the floor is yours, my man.
Oh, thank you. June 10th, I will be in Del Rio, Texas, working for Texas Wrestling Academy. I'll be working the main event match with Mil Muertes and Cortez Castro. So come on out. If you guys follow me on my social media, which I'll give shortly, all the information will be there. June 11th, the day after Sunday, in San Antonio, Texas, at the Texas Wrestling Academy School, I'll be conducting a seminar, referee seminar, to help enhance referees, managers, workers, or all the above are more than welcome to come out. I discuss in-ring psychology, positioning, counts, all the above, you know, on what it takes, you know, to work TV. And I feel, you know, that with my experience working with WWE and Lucha Underground and AAA and Japan, all these guys, you know, that I have, you know, a pretty good idea of how to work. I mean, I've been pretty successful working with the guys that I've been able to work with and, you know, getting their approval. So, you know, come on out, check it out. As far as social media is concerned, Instagram, Marty Elias 67, Twitter, Marty Elias 1967, and on Facebook, Marty Elias And as far as, guitar picks and things of that nature, if somebody wants an autograph poster or they want, a guitar pick, whatever, just shoot me a message on Facebook or Messenger or something like that. And I'll be more than happy to get it out if I can. And, it's all good. So.
Marty, that is the truth. That is the God-given truth. I'm going to say something here real quick. You're one of the most personable, one of the most kindest and genuine people that we've had the opportunity to have on the show. I was telling Dale prior to beginning, I said, this guy is actually genuinely excited to be on our show. I said, I've heard from him a couple of times today. I said, he can't wait to get started with this interview.
Yeah,
plan for him this evening. So yeah, man, it has been a pleasure having you on. We look forward to Lucha Underground, the second half of season 3 and that season 4, which is right around the corner there, right, Marty?
Yeah, and on that note, like you said, I'm excited. I for me personally, I'm so humbled to, for you guys to ask or anybody to ask me, hey, we want to talk to you. Hey, we want to interview you. For me, not everybody gets to do this kind of stuff. Not most, for the most part, everybody goes to work and nobody says, hey, can we interview you? Hey, can we interview you for this or that? So me personally, being able to do what I do, and people see my work and people want to talk to me, they want to get to know about different things, I'm humbled by it. It's like, you really want to talk to me? Really? But then again, it's like, I'm doing something that most folks will never, ever get the opportunity to do. So I'm blessed. And you guys want to talk to me? I'm excited to talk. I didn't in the past because I didn't feel people wanted to hear from a referee. But guess what? Referees are very important. They're a vital part. So people, get that in your head. So on that note, I just want to tell you, everybody listening, watching, May 31st, El Rey Network, the conclusion of season 3, Lucha Underground on the El Rey Network. And remember, we're on Netflix too, season 1, season 2. And on that note, everybody please ride with El Rey.
Yes, without question. Hey, so on that note, me, you, and Dale can sit here and talk wrestling all night long because that's what we do. But unfortunately, we have come to the end of this episode of No Gimmicks Podcast. So thank you for joining us for this interview with referee Marty Elias of Lucha Underground. We are no gimmicks, no image, all wrestling, all the time. Please subscribe to our official YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/The No Gimmicks Podcast. Please make sure that you subscribe publicly so that way we are aware of your support. Check out Craig Perkins' articles on ProWrestling.com. We would like to hear from our viewers, so please leave us some feedback in our comment section. Also, please like our Facebook and follow us on Twitter at The No Gimmicks PC. Remember, sharing is caring. Feel free to share the links to our episodes with other pro wrestling fans on your social media accounts as well. That does it for this episode of No Gimmicks Podcast. For my tag team partner Dale Clifford in Fernley, Nevada, this is Todd Smith in Bristol, Connecticut signing off. Until next time around, y'all take care.